Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, we're tackling something a bit different. A battle report, yeah, but told entirely from the perspective of an orc.
It's chaotic, it's funny, and honestly, it gives you a raw look at what orcs actually care about in a fight.
Exactly. It's not your standard after-action report, that's for sure. We're diving in to see what nuggets of truth, what insights we can pull from this, well, very green point of view.
Yeah, our mission, if you like, is to really get inside the orc mindset. How do they see the battlefield? What are their tactics really like on the ground? This kind of first-person account, subjective as it is gold for understanding that. It bypasses the usual imperial propaganda, let's say.
Okay, let's get into it. So our orc narrator starts off. They're just flying by, right? And they see flashes of titanic weapons and what look like a really good scrap, or at least loads of shiny loot.
Straight away, you've got the core orc values right there. The desire for a good fight, a decent scrap, and of course, shiny loot. It's almost primal.
Yeah, it doesn't take much. So this lures in our main character, Freebooter Peatbog Starskorcha Pete. Let's call him Pete.
Good idea. And his crew, yeah, Big Mek Gubbinz, the grot standard bearer malarkey. They see this fight already happening on some Humie world.
And they just decide to jump in. What does that first reaction tell us?
Well, it shows that fight is the primary motivator. Loot is great, sure, but the chance for a proper brawl, that's irresistible. The fact that the place already looks wrecked, like someone else had a really decent scrap, is actually part of the appeal. It's pretenderized, you know.
Pretenderized.
Yeah.
Right, so they land, and the narrator mentioned something interesting about how they get organized. The big bozes started banging heads and giving orders. This was a new way.
Yeah, he contrasts it with the old way, which was basically run forwards, yelling wah, and hit things.
So what does this new way actually involve? Is it actual strategy?
Well, sort of. The source mentions bosses being a bit too enthusiastic in giving their orders and actually wound their own troops.
Oh, classic.
Exactly, but it's seen as all in good fun. It shows that even when they try to organize, their natural aggression and lack of precision takes over. It's still chaotic.
And they still prefer getting up close.
Yeah.
Right? The narrator says Daka is great, but really you want to fight up close.
Absolutely. That visceral thrill of melee combat is paramount. So even with some headbanging orders, the goal is still to get stuck in.
Okay, so the battle kicks off. War Boss Pete yells at the Storm Boys, "Get stuck in!"
Yeah.
Pretty standard orc command there.
Yep, but then Big Mek Gubbinz's flash gits do something a bit different. They use sneaky stalking tactics, setting up in ruins.
Sneaky orcs. That feels counterintuitive.
It does, but watch what happens. The Morkonaut, one of their big walkers, opens fire, hits a smaller Humie, and creates a satisfying red mist.
Gruesome, but satisfying for them, apparently.
And that's the trigger. The flash gits, the sneaky ones, see this, get all excited, and immediately forget the plan. They just charge out and start shooting, killing 2 more Humies.
So much for the sneaky trap.
Exactly. The thrill of immediate violence just overrides any attempt at subtlety. That's orc strategy in action.
Okay, so turn 1 isn't just orc fun. The Beakies, Ultramarines, hit back. They use unfairly accurate and disappointingly quiet last cannons and rockets.
Notice the disappointingly quiet. Orcs like their guns loud. These target the grot killicans.
And to explode, which the orcs find funny. Satisfying and a good laugh, the narrator says.
It's that orc appreciation for destruction, isn't it? Even their own stuff blowing up is still a good explosion. It shows power, which they respect.
Wild. Then this bloody great big blue flying machine shows up.
Yeah, a flyer. Its heat weapons damage the Morkonaut, scorch the armor, but it's still up. The narrator makes sure to mention it had 17 wounds left. Tough bit of kit.
And then you've got fighty Humies with chain swords. They throw grenades, firebolt guns, which are satisfyingly loud, unlike the last cannons.
Right, and they managed to take down a couple of orcs. So end of turn 1, the score is Orks 0 VP, Ultramarines 2 VP.
But the orcs are not bothered about points or secondary missions like assassination.
Not in the slightest. They're having a great scrap. That's what matters.
All right, turn 2. Things heat up. The last Killican is battle-shocked, just spinning around uselessly.
And nobody helps it. They've got bigger fish to fry, or rather, bigger things to crump, because the war boss calls the wah.
Ah, the magic word.
Indeed. And here's where we get peak orcness. The Big Mek repairs the damaged Morkonaut, gets it back to full health. Great.
Solid battlefield repair.
But then, to make sure it really gets the message to get stuck in, he gives it a hefty whack with his hammer.
Wait, he hits the thing he just fixed?
Yep. takes off one of the wounds he just repaired, leaves it on 19 wounds. It's completely illogical by human standards, but for orcs, percussive maintenance motivates. It's perfect orc logic. Violence makes things work better.
That's incredible. Okay, elsewhere, the Storm Boys use their rockets, leaping over the hilarious screening line the Beakies had formed.
Though another one dies because the war boss was a bit too enthusiastic with his orders again. Some things don't change.
Nope. And what about the Big Mek with the shock attack gun? That thing's always wild.
Oh, yeah. He's doing shooter drills with the flash gits. Then he decides to take a pot shot at that big blue flyer himself.
Oh.
By opening a warp tunnel inside the flyer and firing an unwilling snotling through it.
He weaponized a snotling via warp tunnel.
He did. Doesn't destroy the flyer, but the crew is definitely battle-shocked. I mean, wouldn't you be? It's bizarre, chaotic, but hey, it had an effect.
Unbelievable. Okay, now, a major player emerges from the orc point of view. The shiny golden boy.
Ah, yes. Described as big for a Humie, big even for a Beakie, he'd be big for an orc. So a serious threat.
The Morkanaut and the beast boss on his Squigosaur both shoot at him.
And he just stands there. Tough for a Humie, too, the narrator notes. This guy's immediately a problem for them.
So they try melee.
Right. The Flash gets charged some chainsword Humies, but they run into Burna Boys with flamethrowers. That probably smarts.
Probably. And the beast boss takes on the golden boy directly.
Yeah, the beast boss on his Squigosaur charges in. His big beast chopper just bounces off the golden armor. The squig tries to bite him. Same result. Nothing gets through.
Oof. Not looking good for the beast boss.
Not at all. Because then the golden boy hits back. Just one punch. Does 12 damage according to the narrator. Kills the beast boss and the Squigosaur instantly.
12 damage from one punch.
Never seen a Humie punch like it, the narrator exclaims. It completely shatters their expectations. Brute force usually works for them, not against them like this.
Wow. Okay, but the orcs are still fighting elsewhere, right? Having some success.
Oh yeah, it's not all doom and gloom. The Death Dreads, their other walkers, are doing well, ripping apart some black-armored Beakies.
And one Death Dread tackles the flyer.
Yeah, gets right up to it, uses its claws, rips into the armor, does some serious damage, brings it down to only 5 wounds left. A good hit.
But the Ultramarines hit back hard in their turn.
They do. A new Humie Dread shows up, this one with shine claws, kills a Death Dread instantly. And that flyer, the one that just got damaged, it turns its heat weapons on the Death Dread that attacked it and just melts it. So now there's only one Death Dread left. Brutal exchange.
And then the golden boy again?
Yep. The climax of turn 2. He charges the biggest thing left on the orc side, the bloody great Morkanaut, punches right through the armor. 6 hits, 20 damage. The whole thing just comes crashing down.
20 damage. Just like that.
Gone. The narrator even describes it as almost orc-like behavior. High praise, in a way, even for the enemy destroying their biggest war machine.
That's a massive loss.
Huge, critical loss. So, end of turn 2, orcs have managed to grab 10 VP, probably from holding an objective. Ultramarines are up to 13 VP. The gap is widening.
Okay, turn 3. The orcs lost their Morkanaut, but they haven't forgotten that pesky blue flyer.
Nope, still annoying them. Flash gets throw grenades at it, and the Big Mek with the shock attack gun tries his snotling trick again.
Does it work this time?
It does. Sends another snotling through the warp, and this time, boom, the flyer comes down. Cheer goes up from the boys.
Finally, they got it.
Yeah, you see. Orc persistence. Just keep throwing stuff, literally snotlings at the problem until it breaks. Sheer chaotic volume of fire or snotlings eventually works.
Okay, what else is happening? Tank busters.
Tank busters are doing their thing, launching rockets, explosions everywhere, which sounds very orc-approved.
But then,
the Humie tanks arrive. Big ones. One with a huge cannon, others with Gatling cannons, and they just unleash.
How bad is it?
Bad. They killed a whole lot of them, just wipe the tank busters off the board. One tank even runs over a flash git for good measure.
Ouch. That sounds decisive.
It really does. It kind of raises that question, you know? Orcs love close combat. They love their own Daka, but here they run into Humie tanks with, as the narrator puts it, an orc level of lethal Daka. Sometimes sheer firepower just wins.
Especially when it's pointed at you. Now, what about the golden boy? He took down the Morkanaut. Is he still around?
Oh, he's still around. And still annoying the orcs. Flash gits and the merc shoot at him again. His golden armor saves him again.
They must be getting really frustrated.
You bet. They finally managed to wound him, bring him down to just 1 wound left. Victory.
Yes, finally.
But then he got back up.
What?
The narrator just says his shiny armor cheating. That's the orc explanation.
Cheating armor.
Look, from their perspective, if you hit something hard enough, it goes down and stays down. That's how physics works in an orc worldview. Someone getting back up after taking that much punishment, it doesn't compute, it breaks the rules. Therefore, it must be cheating. It tells you so much about how they see the world purely through the lens of strength and immediate results.
So Golden Boy gets back up, and that's where the narrator's personal story ends.
Yeah. He sees the Golden Boy raising his fiery sword and ominously notes, "That was the last thing I saw." So our main viewpoint character is likely taken out here.
End of the line for him. What about War Boss Pete?
Pete actually has a moment of glory. He manages to bring down that clawed Humie dread that appeared earlier.
Good for Pete.
But then he gets taken out himself by a Humie laser dread. And Malarkey, the Grot banner bearer, he's killed too.
So the orc leadership is basically gone now.
Pretty much wiped out. Despite individual successes, like taking down the flyer or that dread, the core command structure collapses.
How does the score look through turns 3 and 4?
Well, the orcs actually rally a bit on points. They climb to 28 VP in turn 3, then 37 VP in turn 4. They even start scoring some secondaries, like assassination probably for killing that dread, and bring it down for the flyer.
So they're catching up.
Not quite. The Ultramarines are pulling further ahead. They reach 24 VP in turn 3, then jump to 43 VP in turn 4. They're consistently scoring primaries and secondaries. The tactical game is definitely going their way.
Okay, so that brings us to the end, turn 5. What's left for the orcs?
Not much. According to the epilogue, basically just a dazed Grot in his Killacan, the one that was spinning around earlier, presumably. He manages to score a final 5 VP, probably just by existing on an objective.
A lone, confused Grot. Wow. And the final score.
Orcs finish on 52 victory points. Ultramarines take the win with 68 victory points.
So a clear win for the Ultramarines on paper. But what does this whole tall tale really tell us?
Well, that's the beauty of this deep dive, isn't it? The Orc Tall Tale gives us this incredibly raw, unfiltered, personal view. It's not about the objective score, not really. It's about the experience.
The chaos, the explosion.
Exactly. The satisfying red mist, the thrill of the wah, the frustration of the cheating Golden Boy, the joy of bringing down the flyer. It shows that the emotional truth of a battle, especially for an orc, can be completely different from the, cold, hard numbers on a score sheet. A good scrap was had, and maybe that's the real victory for them.